A few Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
John Nemeth.
And David Lauer.
And this is a show about love and hate and indifferent topics or things we're on the fence about, or ambivalent to. But before we do any of that, though, we talk about old topics. And this is called the Deja Fuse. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so I brought up as a mystery topic poorly constructed jokes, and I came across one in the memes Slack channel in my work, and it's just like so bad. It's the the header is when you use a non-stick pan, but the brownies still stick, and then the photo is of Captain Hook, and he says, "I'll get you for this pan."
Wow.
Now, all they would have had to do is when you use a non-stick baking sheet, but the brownies still stick, and then have him say, "I'll get you for this pan." And it would just been in my opinion, 1,000 times better. But
And
they didn't put in the effort.
And John, you know from comedy. I mean, like we we uh we made skits, comedic sketches when we were in high school, and
Yeah,
we
I
would
mean,
always be throwing out, yeah, lines.
we spent hours in that writer's room perfecting our craft.
No, I think what basically it was like you and Matt came up with all the broad ideas, and then the rest of us would just kind of throw in little ideas there. Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me.
And then I feel like we would do like these rehearsals where we would like a lot of times like repeat like kind of the same thing. And then when we had the camera rolling, we would always just improv something new and never do the stuff that we had like actually talked about doing.
Regular Bill Murray's. Yeah.
Like by the time we were like ready to record it, we were like sick of those jokes. So we're like, oh, we need something fresh.
Uh, yeah.
I'm
Joke
sure I'm
structure.
sure you both spent all your time since that mystery topic came up thinking of your own examples. So yeah.
I really like
No.
that example though, because when I saw the meme, I was like, I like it. It is kind of funny, but at the same time, I felt like they saw the picture with Captain Hook's quote, and then they were trying to figure out what they were going to say. And
Right.
and then they wrote it kind of in that direction. But yeah, like your tweak on the joke to say pan or say cookie sheet or baking sheet, and then switch it to pan for that makes more sense, like writing style wise.
Oh, that'd be great to have an actual writer's room just to see what we cook up. That'd be great. Uh,
Yeah. Writers' rooms, notoriously fun places to be.
yeah, isn't that a known thing where like SNL like really sucks? Like it's you got to have like a tough skin and also willing to lash back. It's really bad.
Yeah. And then just like I was here like for some reason since the show doesn't start until well, whatever 10:30 on Saturday, they're like, and we're never gonna start our work days until like 3 in the afternoon. So like every day you're working from like 3 until 3 in the morning or something like that. And like, you could have normal hours like every other day of the week.
Well, yeah, and don't they? I think they tape it at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon on Saturdays, and then they run it later.
What?
It's not like literally live.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That doesn't sound right.
I mean, I know they do
Uh,
that for Jay Leno and shit. Like, yeah.
I'm fairly because I remember hearing about. Remember when like Ashley Simpson when she like had like the lip syncing thing because they recorded it live. And then she was like, "Well, I mean, you guys haven't aired it yet, so you can take it down." And they're like, "No, we tape the show live, and whatever happens is what's going out there." Because she like tried to plead with them to like, please don't air this, but they did anyways.
Whoa.
Well, that's what I read, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I didn't watch that movie Saturday night where like they're talking about behind the scenes and stuff. All right,
I
well,
I loved like 30 Rock, where they had like the
Yeah.
fictitious writing room. Like the for whatever reason, whenever it cut to the writing room, I was just like, yes, I was super excited. I was like, this is gonna be great.
Oh my
And it was.
gosh. Yeah, but that one dude where like he's on the cast credits in the opening, all he does is wear a fucking hat that says like, I don't know, I didn't come up with a joke this time. I'm a hat, you know?
Yeah, Judah Friedlander. Yeah,
Yes,
like he was
yes.
supposed to be super funny, but he never had anything funny to say. And it was just like, oh, he wears a cool hat.
Unless like he is super funny, he's writing all this stuff, but his character isn't funny, maybe that would work, but
He's like ripping off Jay and Silent Bob. He's just trying to be Silent Bob.
you know what? Enough of this. If there's a head writer, it's me. God damn it! And I'm saying, let's get the show started. Actually, Dave, you get to start us off, brother.
All right. First we're gonna start off with something I love, and I love nicknames. I love There's nothing better than a good nickname. Like you have your generic nicknames, like you can call like your buddy RJ or AJ, just kind of abbreviating their name. Like my name is David, but you can call me Dave. That's kind of a nickname. But I love like the more serious, like fun nicknames where with like sports, there's tons of like football players and basketball players who have nicknames and like MMA fighters that have nicknames. Um, like there's like Magic Johnson. Like it's one of the all-time greatest nicknames ever. Like who would know Irving Johnson? That's just boring. But Magic Johnson, that's incredible.
Oh, I thought his name was Magic. That's crazy.
Exactly. That's why it's
Wow.
such a good nickname. Is everybody's like, oh, he has a different name? Like, yeah. And then there's, like Dr. J, Julius Irving. This is great. There's William the Refrigerator Perry, because he's as big as a refrigerator. Uh then there's like pro wrestlers like The Undertaker is known as the Dead Man. Great nickname. Like Macho Man Randy Savage, Macho Man. That's a freaking cool nickname. I like the UFC fighters have tons of good nicknames. Chuck Liddell, he's the Iceman, Chuck Liddell. Tony Ferguson, his nickname is El Cucuy, which is Spanish for the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
There's like Mirko Krokop, and Krokop, everyone just calls him Krokop, and it's because he's from Croatia and he was part of like he was like a cop basically. He was like part of the SWAT team. But
Well,
just
I thought that was his name. Wow. I had no idea.
well, his last name is like Flipovich or something.
Oh.
But anytime they showed him, they just said Mirko Krokop. It was like a Magic Johnson thing where you're like the nickname is just ingrained and it just becomes your real name.
Oh, that happens
Uh,
to a lot of Brazilian fighters. They'll like
yeah,
it'll become legally their name. That's crazy.
Jacare Souza.
Yeah.
Jacare mean I think it means gator.
Well, you can't see me do the gator,
Yeah,
but
and
I'm
then
doing it.
like Bigfoot Silva, he was a fighter. Darren the Damage Elkins, Ian McCall, his nickname was Uncle Creepy because he had a creepy twirly mustache. And then also there's nicknames everywhere. From the movie Beer Fest, Landfill, because he could eat and drink everything. He was Landfill. Yeah, so I love nicknames. They're fun.
Dave, you left out one of your greatest nicknames, Hardcore Dave,
Ah, yes.
as well as my personal favorite, Softcore Dave.
Can't be hard all the time.
Oh, also, there was this random woman we used to know, and she would always call you Jones. She's like, because he seems like a Jones. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah,
I guess I can see that.
she was obsessed with what was that band with the song Mr. Jones, Counting Crows.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah. That I really like that song Mr. Jones, but yeah, somehow she called me Mr. Jones because I like that song. Yeah, she was weird. I don't want to talk about her.
John, I remember people would sometimes call you Nemetska.
Oh yeah, they would,
Huh,
wouldn't they?
huh.
I had a guy at work who called me Nemetron. as though I was some sort of transformer.
Oh, awesome. Well, go on, John. Any other
Oh,
nickname stuff?
for myself.
Yeah.
So,
Oof.
um, no, I always try to get people to call me just by my last name because there's so many fucking Johns everywhere, and it would just like be less ambiguous. Um, I was thinking sports nicknames. What do you guys think of Ocho Cinco? Didn't he actually like, his number was 85, which is, ocho is eight, five is cinco in Spanish.
Oh.
But then I think he like changed his name so it could say the words Ocho Cinco on his jersey, which I thought was commitment to the bit.
Where is he
Yeah,
from?
that was good.
I don't know, some NFL team.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Cincinnati Bengals. But isn't it? I heard that if you say 85 in Spanish, you say it differently. You don't
Yeah, it's
just
like
say
ochenta
85.
y cinco or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so people were giving him crap. And they're like, well, that's not technically right.
Um, I was just thinking like women don't seem to get nicknames as much as men for whatever reason.
Wow. Well, I have some girl nicknames that I've given girls for sure. Like my ex Jenny, I would call her Jen Bob, especially if she was getting like dramatic or upset about something. I would go, "Oh, Jen Bob," and that would just instantly break her out of it.
Isn't it
Um,
supposed to be like Jim Bob?
I don't know. I don't know where it comes from at all. It was just
In
something to undercut whatever it is she was trying to do. Yeah.
in college, I knew a guy named Eric Landrew, and everyone called him EFL, which just stood for Eric fucking Landrew. But somehow, yeah, that he just was known as EFL by everyone, which I thought was kind of fun.
Dave, going back to the UFC, some dudes have more than one nickname, and it changes with every era. Diego Sanchez went by the Nightmare, then he changed it to the Dream, then he changed it to Lionheart. And what's very peculiar is that those names change with his style of fighting. Like when he was the Nightmare, he would be a wrestler smotherer. When he became the Dream, he was boxing. And then when he became Lionheart, he got knocked the fuck out. He was washed up around Lionheart. Also, Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson. He that's in honor of Tenacious D. That's always awesome. Even though I don't like Azrael Adesanya, he's got a dope ass nickname, the Last Style Bender. It's pretty awesome. But also, if I was a fighter, I wouldn't do this. There are so many fucking fighters out there with the same nicknames. Hands of Stone is very common. I want to shoot myself every time a fighter comes out and is like, "What's your nickname?" Bam Bam. I'm like, oh, fuck off. God damn it. But it's like, well, you can't really. I'm sure there's those people out there that like that's just their mentality. They're like, "Bam Bam," and you want to be like, "Hey, that's been taken," and they're just like, "Bam Bam." Like, ah, never mind. The fuck it, whatever. I've been given lots of nicknames. Um, Handsome. Oh my gosh, isn't that just a gift to be called that like every day by your mom? Of course, your cousins would turn that around on you and make fun of you for that. Um, my sister would, for some reason, I don't remember when she started doing it, but she would just call me Spencer. It was so bizarre. My dad gave us all head names like Egghead, Hammerhead, and he called me Shithead. And yeah, I gave an ex of mine like I gave her like three nicknames, like Cheeks, Sticks, and Snakes. And she liked them all and they all fit. But yeah. Um anything else about nicknames? It's got to be something we left out.
I don't know why, but like when when someone goes by, like the diminutive, like if like everyone calls them Andy or something, and then like there's those people who then always have to call them like Andrew, which that kind of annoys me. Like at that point, then like Andrew is like their nickname for them, but it's like, well, yeah, but nobody calls them that, so why you got to do that?
John, do you get a lot of Johnnies?
Every once in a while, then I don't mind it. Kind of like it. Um, I get Jonathan, which is more annoying because like that's not my name at
Oh,
all.
no,
Yeah.
that doesn't even fit you at all. I know a Jonathan,
Yeah.
and he is not
And you,
you.
sir, are
Yeah.
no Jonathan.
I always have people that they'll be like David or Dave, and they're like, which one is it? And I'm like, it's literally the same thing. Like I don't know. I'm like, I don't care. My brain doesn't register a difference. If I hear either, I will be like, yes, okay.
David.
Vincent is only for properly like writing on a signature or something. I think that name looks good. It would look good on a business card. But almost everyone calls me just Vince, and that's fine with me. I've gotten some Vinnies over the years.
I
Yeah,
think when you
Cousin Vinny.
played video games with me on my Wii, you registered as Vindle.
mental. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, if that counts, then I played as Fiddlesticks for a long time online. That was my
There you
name.
go.
Yeah. Right now it's Juice Box Wine. It's been that for fucking years. Holy shit. I think James was there when I decided to go by that name. Guess what we were doing? Anyways, should we go to Segway Challenge? Yeah? Or should we come up with a nickname for the Segway Challenge?
Oh,
SG.
the old
Wait, no, SC.
the old Peggy
Seggy?
Chaley.
Okay. All right, whoever wants to go next.
I can go next. I hate when you're out and about and there's like all these common things like soap dispensers, card readers at the checkout, paper towel things or whatever, like, but they all like work differently for each other. And I was inspired to do this topic when I was like standing in front of a sink, holding my hand in front of the soap dispenser with nothing happening, and then like realized like, oh, I have to like push in on this thing. Like it's just like everywhere you go, everything works differently, but it's all like similar enough that you feel like an idiot when you can't get it working initially. And yeah, like so thinking about like you buy some stuff, you go to checkout and like you never know where to put your card on the thing for the tap to work, or sometimes there's like a gap underneath the card reader and you're like shoving it in this weird place where no card was ever meant to go. Um and then I hate how if you're turning on a faucet, you turn it to the left, but if you're turning on a light switch, like a knob on a lamp, then you have to turn it to the right. Like I always like go to do the wrong thing when I'm turning on a lamp. Or same in my car, like the to turn on the headlights, I have to turn that knob to the left, but to turn on the windshield wipers, I have to turn that knob to the right. And it just doesn't make any sense to me, and I always do it wrong as well. Like with a light
Yeah.
switch, I feel like it should be like a faucet. You're opening up the switch to let the electricity flow through, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, sometimes, and not all the time, but sometimes when I'm turning something and they're like, oh, lefty loosey, righty tighty, but I'm like, yeah, but if you turn it left enough, it's this part is going right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Like the
get a little
bottom's
confused.
going. The bottom's going to the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it throws me off. It's so stupid, but I deal with that. I wanted to, I wasn't sure if this counted, because, okay, so on my laptop, you can go, if you're on a website, you could go to the right and click on the little down arrow. So you could scroll down the website. And then all of a sudden, it switched. Now there's like this bar that you have to hover for it to appear, and you have to click and drag. Is that a thing? Or did I just like mess up my computer one day and haven't turned it back?
No, that sounds like something they just would have changed and
Oh
now
my
it's
God.
annoying.
I hate it so much. I hate that.
Or yeah, like just thinking of that, like um you can like switch, like if you have a touchpad and you use that to scroll, you can switch which way it works. So like if you swipe down, the page goes down, or if you swipe down and the page goes up, is configurable. And like, so you go on someone else's computer and like half and half of them haven't switched the other way. So you're just trying to scroll down and you're just going in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah. Do
It's
you have
kind of like
anything,
the
Dave?
it's kind of like that with video games where you like invert the axis like that with down is up, up is down, and
Yeah.
it's I never like I get it if I'm piloting an airplane, then it's going to be backwards. But other than that circumstance, I want up to be up and down to be down.
See, I'm the exact opposite. Like I always think of it like you're piloting an airplane. So you're like, oh, I want to move my head forward, so I'm looking down, or I want to move my head back, so I'm looking up. And that's
Yeah.
what's intuitive to me with those games.
Like
But I'm also
I
horrible at first person shooters, so
I used to
that,
always do it that way, like on GoldenEye or like on PlayStation 2. But then at some point, I think when I started playing Xbox or Xbox 360, I the default was the other way, and then I just went with it.
Yeah, I think I'm the, push down to look up, that sort of thing. I think that eventually happened. I don't think I started off that way at all. I was just trying to play the game as it was, and then I think my brother was like, there's other options, dumbass. I'm like, oh shit. All right. And it was just more comfortable over the years, and now that's what I go to, especially on Halo. Hmm. Anything else about inconsistent devices?
I mean, John, you already kind of said this, but yeah, like I have my truck, which is a Ford, and then my wife has a Honda, a car, and everything is just different. Like if I want to turn the windshield wipers on, it's different. The lights, it's different. Just everything is like backwards and different. Like the shifter's in a different place. You have to like the lights, the light you have lights on one side and then you have wipers on the other side. But then in the other car, they're both just on the same utensil and they're both there, and it's just there's no consistency. And like I know it's like, well, one's American made, one's Japanese made, so there's that. But I've been in like Chevys and Fords in like two American cars and they'll be totally different.
yeah, yeah, definitely it doesn't seem to be a country thing. It's just like every brand does it their own way.
Yeah, it's like, can we just like make up some rules and just stick to them?
There was a motion thing at a Quick Trip, I think, and that wouldn't work. But the alternative, you could just kind of crank this little lever in case that wasn't working. Because a lot of the times, the motion thing doesn't see me and shit, like the sinks. That always sucks. Hate
Mm-hmm.
it.
And I've done that in front of doors where I walk up to a door and I stand there, and then I'm like, oh, it's not going to open. And then I just push it open.
I
Oh, God. Segway challenge?
feel like there's not really a standard way to do a segue challenge. Like, we come up with a pun, or do we try to tie in the next topic? I don't know what to do here.
Yeah. Just get frustrated by it. Okay, I am next. Let's see here. We did a love already and two loves, right? Or no, love, hate. Right. I'm gonna go with an indifference here. Height. I wasn't always tall, and what's tall? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a child and everyone's bigger than you. And, you respect them, you fear them, whatever. And then eventually you kind of get their height and you're like, oh, we're the same now. And maybe you start getting a little bit taller and you just see them differently. You understand physically you're superior or like at least you're bigger. There's always you think you're big and strong, that sort of thing. Um, so as soon as I reached 5'11", that's as tall as I get. Part of me was like, ah, fuck. All those women are like, I won't even date a guy if unless he's 6 foot, whatever, And I'm like, oh shit. Well, I pass as 6 foot. I feel like in slightly bigger shoes, maybe in boots, they could look at me and be like, oh, you're 6 foot. I'll date you, even though I'm shallow as fuck.
Like, how do you know who's 6 foot, you 5'3" woman?
Yeah, that's what I never understood. It's like if you're 5'3", what's the difference between 5'9" and 6 feet? Like it's still 6 inches or more.
So when you're even when you're taller than people and you're around people that you respect and admire, like sometimes you feel awkwardly tall. You feel like kind of crouching down just to be kind of closer with them. I knew this guy who was, fuck, he was like 6'7", something like that. And he would slouch all the time. Like he had terrible posture just because he wanted to be slightly shorter than that. He was
Yeah, I have
always,
a
yeah.
cousin who he just like graduated high school. He's like that age, but he's like so tall, and he just looks like he's like always like hunching his neck down because like he's too tall. I feel bad for him.
Oh, and eventually, like that's bad for your health, right? Don't they have like bad knees and shit? Like
Probably.
you could be too tall. So that's why I'm kind of glad. Again, I wish I was 6 foot, but 5'11", it seems to be you can pass for 6 foot or whatever. And some of the greatest people in the world is 5'11", like Brad Pitt.
And that's just one of the many things you
Yeah,
have in common.
yeah. Um,
And Tom Cruise when he's wearing the proper shoes.
oh, okay. So that's the other thing. I actually wrote down Tom Cruise specifically. Like I know people that are shorter than me. It doesn't matter. They're cool. Like there's like I said, there's people that are smaller than me that I love and respect. And it's so weird that Tom Cruise won't just be like, "Hey, what's his height? I think it's like 5'7", maybe. I think. But like, I think people would accept that because look at Conor McGregor. He's 5'9", but he feels big because his personality. He's completely comfortable within himself, and that's the difference. I've met some short guys where it doesn't matter. They're there. They're a complete person. But then there's some short dudes who are overcompensating, maybe a little Napoleon complex. I almost said Napoleon Dynamite. They're wearing their moon boots. Oh,
God.
wish I was taller. Um, yeah. That's all I got so far for height. What do you guys say?
I feel strongly about this actually. I was at some point gonna have the that I love being average height.
No?
I'm 5'10". I'm tall enough to reach stuff on the top shelf for in most instances that were made for people to reach from. Um, but I'm short enough that I'm not hitting my head on anything. Um, economy class in on an airplane is just fine. I'm not like banging my knees around and stuff. Um, yeah, I feel like I hit the sweet spot in height and it's worked out pretty well for me.
The baritone of height.
They
Not a
call him the
bass.
baritone of height. It's my
Wait a minute though.
nickname.
Would you round up 5'11" in there? Like again, I feel like this no, I would not.
No, I have too much integrity.
I
In
I
fact,
feel 5'11's fine.
one time I went to the doctor and they put me down as 5'9", And so just for years, I was like, oh, maybe I just measured myself wrong and I was saying I was 5'9", but then like every time since then it's been 5'10". I'm like, okay, I guess I can reclaim that inch again.
Oh my God, that reminds me. I saw this thing online and it was just like a poll where they sent out, they asked 1,000 people how tall you are to all these men, these adult males, and the amount of people who said they were 5'10" was super high. The amount of people who said they were 5'11" was really small, and the amount of people who said they were 6 feet tall was really high again. So it was like no one wanted to say they were 5'11", and then very few people wanted to say they were 5'9". They just wanted to say they were 5'10" because it's like there's two digits there. So it's like the 5'9ers want to
Uh,
be 5'10" and the 5'11ers want to be 6 foot.
that's
Wow.
funny.
Dave, you're 5'11", right?
I'm 5'10" and a half, but I just went to the doctor's yesterday and I just told him I'm 5'10". I'm like, I'm not gonna try and like stretch it out. I'm not one of the like I don't care. I got
I
nothing to
always,
prove with my height anymore.
yeah, I always find it amusing when like men need to get that extra half or quarter inch, especially when they're like over 6 feet. Like, yeah, I'm 6'2.5 inches. Like, okay, buddy, you're fine. Like, you don't need that extra half inch on there.
I heard that actually tall guys, that's what they're about. Like that six, I think there's a line. It's like once you're like 6'2", then everyone else higher than that is in this group, sort of. They feel like it's like how bald men feel like they know each other in some way just by sharing that thing, you know? Yeah. So they emphasize like, oh, 6'3". Well, I'm 6'3.5", bro. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar, I feel like, with people in their shoe sizes. Nobody wants to have small feet. They're always like, "Oh yeah, I wear 11s," even though they're wearing like 9.5s.
I've got the 5'10" of shoe sizes, which is 10.
I'm 10.5, Dave.
I wear
Dave,
12s,
be
but
honest.
Whoa.
I wear 12s, but I will totally say I wear size 11 is my actual size, but I like big comfy shoes, so I just get a size bigger.
And you wear 4 pairs of socks.
No, I just love toe room. I got that, gotta have that wiggle room.
Oh,
Good. Segway challenge? Uh,
I
let us be
can
the.
almost see the other topic over there.
Oh my gosh, yes. All right, Dave, go ahead.
Um, I have a hate, and it is I hate shopping around the holidays.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought your hate was to be continued, and you were
Well,
indifferent to
yeah.
shopping in the holidays.
Well, I was indifferent to Christmas music, I think, or
oh no.
decorations, but then it morphed because I think we'd already done that. So I'm making it up on the fly. Just roll with it, Vince.
Okay, all right. Uh,
I hate shopping around the holiday time. So it's like the middle of November right now. And even like in late October, if I go to Walmart, they're rolling in the Christmas stuff. It's starting to take over. Like, the spot in Walmart that used to be, back to school, and then it turned into Halloween section. All of a sudden, it's just Christmas everywhere. I hate shopping around the holidays just because it's like the sheer volume of people trying to shop. It's just, there's just more people out and about. I'm just like trying to at my local Walmart. I'm trying to get to like the pharmaceutical section, the health and body, trying to get some cold medicine. It's in like the very corner of the store, but there's like this makeshift Christmas section that I have to walk through. And there's all these 70 or 80-year-old ladies just looking at Christmas decorations. And it's like, you're 80. Like, you have all the Christmas decorations you need in your life, all right? They're
You've
in
been
your
literally
garage or in
collecting
your
them for
attic.
80 years. Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't need any more. Like I get it if you're 25 and you just got a new place and you need Christmas decorations. I'm fine if you're in your 20s and you're buying that stuff. If you're in your 80s, you've been doing it your whole life. Like come on, you should have a million in your collection by now. And they're just slowing me down from getting where I'm going. All these Christmas shoppers. And then even like now you try and go grocery shopping for like the next 2 weeks. It's going to be impossible because everyone's going to be grocery shopping for Thanksgiving and you're just going to be in there like I just need milk and bread and eggs, but everyone's gonna be getting stuffing and turkey and pumpkin pie mix and green bean casserole garbage. I hate it, and it's just I've I have previously stated that I hate like using the Walmart app to get like the delivery or like where they bring it out to your car. But like this time of year, I'm like, well, okay, I got to do it because I can't go into that store.
Wow. Yeah, I think we kind of mentioned this with gift giving. Because I don't give gifts, I don't shop for gifts. So I can't remember the last time I went shopping. Oh wait, no, I was at and why isn't this a fucking topic? Black Friday. Like I went in there and my someone ran over my foot with their cart. There was no
Wow.
apology, She just kept going.
Oh yeah, it's like Gladiator. It's like Roman times. Anything goes.
Yeah, anything
Well,
goes.
I think Dave, you're not saying you're like shopping for gifts. You're just trying to do your normal like grocery shopping and stuff. But
Yeah,
um,
I'm just trying to go about my weekly like shopping for groceries, and then all the Christmas shoppers and Thanksgiving shoppers are just ruining my day. Like it's bad enough as it is, and then once it's around the holidays, then it's worse.
yeah, I guess I normally just like I buy my groceries at we just have like a food co-op here, and all they are is a grocery store, so I don't run into too much of that kind of stuff, which is nice. But yeah, Black Friday shopping one time, my wife and I just like we had no interest in actually doing it, and we're like, oh, let's just check it out. And we went to like the Target or something when it opened early one Black Friday, and it was just insane. Like the um the line was like to check out was like all the way around to like the back of the store and stuff. And she found like one small thing that she wanted to buy. I'm like, you know what? We'll come back and I'll pay full price for that later.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, this is some more deja vus about Christmas music being played. Um, that when that starts to happen, I don't get jolly. I feel like I could if they could just save all that Christmas stuff for the day or right, Eve or whatever, then that would hit me like crazy. I'd be like, yes, it is Christmas time. But that long drawn out promotion of Christmas, holy crap. It's like those, we just got rid of the political ads. Now we got to hear the Christmas stuff. So crazy.
Man, I'll take the Christmas ads over the political ads, though.
Santa
Tammy
Claus.
Baldwin.
I'm really looking forward to watching football this weekend because I was like, oh my gosh, there's not going to be any political ads. Like, this would be the greatest weekend of football ever.
Oh wow. Now that we're just talking about it real quick, take your fucking political stuff down. It's over, okay?
Yeah.
Either side, just take your shit down. Oh my God, that's so infuriating.
Are people leaving up their signs like it's
Oh
their
yeah, there's
Christmas
yard signs
decorations?
all over the place still. Yeah.
Yeah, at first they were scary for Halloween. Now they're just annoying. Okay, segue challenge.
Let me get to the exit of this topic.
No,
Oh,
no,
there.
I need it.
That's mine. It's the last one. Give it here.
Go ahead, John.
All right. I love getting into behind the scenes locations. And I'm not even talking like cool stuff like you're backstage at a concert and like the performers and stuff are there. I'm even talking about like being backstage at the concert when nobody's there. Like I just like to see like how, like what are the bowels of the machine like? How do these buildings operate? Like, um, like if I recently had to do some work for a customer at like a hotel, and like hotels are like these places where, there's very much all the places where customers are normally able to go, and that's all you ever get to see. But then I got to like go in the back offices and stuff and walk through, like the um, mechanical rooms and all that kind of stuff. Like that stuff is always just, for whatever reason, just fascinating for me to walk through and look at and kind of see how stuff works. And then, like being a computer guy, like to get into like the server rooms and just see like all that kind of equipment and stuff. And um, like nothing fancy, but just, just kind of being being in the insider locations for some reason is always fascinating to me.
I would say, does it count when you first get hired for a job and you're like, oh,
Oh
I've
yeah,
been to
for
this.
sure. Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting to see. Like IGA, I think I worked there after you were there, John. I think I went there because I knew you guys, and then you all stopped, and I'm like, I'm here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool. Yeah, you got the back room and then like the weird tunnel thing downstairs and all that stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. And it kind of taps into a possible future, damn it, love, abandoned buildings. Should we talk
Yes.
about that? Yeah, that could be a
Yeah,
future
that
topic.
that would be cool.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, Dave.
I've never really been anywhere cool behind the scenes, but I have like at my jobs, like I worked at Target, and seeing the back room in Target was just incredible to me because it was so well organized. It was just like a million rows. There was 100 different rows. They were all like 30 feet tall, and they just have everything stocked, and it's all the most organized place in the world. And I was blown away by the organization there. And then I also worked at Walmart, and it's a complete mess. It's so unorganized. It's just polar opposites. And then also at Walmart, I remember when I first started working there, I was like 19 or 20, and I went back for the break room, and they had two break rooms next to each other. One was the regular break room where you ate your food, and then right next to it was the smoking break room, and people are just sitting back there inside, and they have special exhaust fans, and there's just old ladies smoking Virginia Slims back there through the cashiers, and you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. They don't I'm like, it makes sense. I'm like, I've never seen any Walmart employees smoking like behind the Walmart. It was because they got their own smoking area in the building. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
Walmart is just fascinating in how they manage their like the customer perception and stuff. My cousin's husband just started driving semi truck for them, and um, like he's actually told to drive differently than he has been on any other job driving a semi truck, just so that customers don't see some Walmart driver driving like an asshole and then have like a bad view of the company.
wow.
I knew a neighbor, like his dad when I was growing up, he was a truck driver, and then he got a job for Walmart, and we always thought like, oh, Walmart, haha. But then he was like, no, he's like, this is like the best job ever. He's like, I actually get to stop and sleep. Like they limit my hours. There's like He's like, it's really great. Like other companies, they just make you drive. They're like, okay, you got to go from New Jersey to New Orleans. Like, good luck getting a nap.
Yeah, it
I-
is weird, like for how bad it is to be just an employee at the store, how I've heard most of their other jobs are actually quite good, but I still hate them anyway.
the Waltons, is that who owns it? I don't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah. Um, oh, I was in a stage play in high school, so that was cool to actually be literally behind the
Literally.
scenes and waiting in the wings to do your thing. Yeah, so that was cool. And you got to see like how other actors prep, some are nervous, some are just like jumping, getting pumped up and stuff. It's kind of cool.
One of the cooler examples I have was there's a horse racing track not far from Minneapolis, and my wife's uncle used to work there. So I like we and a bunch of friends went there, and he like took us on a tour of the facilities and stuff, and then took us up to the I don't know if you call it the press room or whatever, but basically where they're calling the race and like doing all the announcements and stuff. Um, and it was like the guy who does the calling for the Vikings on the radio. He was calling the horse race. So like a local celebrity type guy, and
Paul Allen?
yeah,
I love Paul Allen.
yeah. So then he picked one of my friends and let her like go on the microphone and be like, "It's post time," like when the horses were supposed to get in their positions and stuff, um, and honestly, that was watching him call that race was kind of impressive to me. Like, you know how those horses always have these crazy names, and he just has like kind of this book, and he's like able to like call the horses by name, like looking through binoculars as they're like going around the track, and keep track of who's who and call them out like that. That was an impressive skill, I thought.
What? They're using binoculars? I figured it would be like screens now.
I don't know. Not not at that time at that place. They
Wow,
weren't.
that's crazy. Um, Greatest behind the scenes ever would be this is Spinal Tap, where they're like, "Yes, let's go, let's rock Detroit," and they keep getting lost. They can't find the stage. It's amazing. Segway challenge.
My favorite is the Goldie look behind the scenes,
Oh yeah, there you go. All
which
right. Which?
listeners get to hear all the time as we come up with our Safeway challenges on the fly.
Okay, I'll close this episode with something. What do you guys want? Love or hate
Or
or a
mystery.
mystery? Yeah.
I haven't done any mysteries yet.
All right, let's do a mystery.
Oh,
I'm indifferent to factory work. Yeah. So it takes a lot of endurance and stamina, because it can be quite brain numbing because you're just standing in one spot for how many hours? Sometimes they're like 12 hours, just focusing on this minute little thing that you're going to repeat and repeat. Um, I'm indifferent to it because it pays well. Like you better get paid well for doing such work, where you feel like, am I even a human being? I'm more machine now and stuff like that. Oh, there was this guy right next to me who was breaking down. He literally said, "I am not a robot."
wow. That's fucking intense.
It was awesome. He was like this ex metalhead. Like there was a picture of him like long ass hair and just like, yeah. And he's got this quaint job now, and you could tell it was clashing with his old self. It was so funny. Um, so also why I think it's pretty good is I met a lot of good friends and factory jobs, who I still have today. Thanks, factory work. Although I would have recalled all of them. uh, so yeah, actually, since I have so many days open for myself, I was thinking about getting a second job, like a part-time job, just because I want to get a house now, and maybe a part-time factory job could work. They do drug tests, so I'd have to air out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys say about factory work?
Never had a factory job. I don't. think, unless milking cows counts. It's
Ooh.
very,
I think that kind of counts.
yeah, like in spirit, it definitely is like
It's
just
in poor
repeating the same thing
conditions.
over and
Poor
over again.
conditions.
Yeah. Um, on a small scale, there's a part of me that really likes that kind of thing, just like gamification and like challenging yourself to do the task that you have to do in the most efficient way possible. And just trying to get better at it. There's a Sisyphusian part of my brain that really clicks with, and I actually can find that kind of stuff enjoyable, I think.
I've done factory work and I felt the same way. I would get like really good at, I worked at Midwest Manufacturing at the truss plant, and you would just be building the same thing the entire time of the shift. So you get super efficient and you know the best way to do everything. And you would be working in like a team of three, and we would set like production records, and we would build like 56 in an hour, which means you're almost doing one a minute, which is pretty awesome. And then and like everything had its own quota. So like some things you had to build like 41 in an hour. And then all of a sudden you'd come into work one day and it wasn't 41 in an hour. The boss upped the quota. Now it's 46 in an hour. And when that would happen, you would be like, screw this. I'm like, okay, now we're building. No, instead of 46 an hour, we're going to do 36 an hour. And we would purposefully just move slow out of just to stick it to the man. Cause like, screw you. Like we were really trying hard and we were making like quota. And he's like, if you're going to mess with the quotas, like, screw you. But I really hated factory work because it you're just it's mind numbing like you said, and I think it taught me a great deal about patience, and it taught me how to live in my own head without going crazy, because you're just kind of there doing the same thing, so your brain is just constantly thinking about things that are not in front of you. So you're just I learned to just like focus on things that I like and I enjoy, and I'll just think about them in my head. Like I'll just think of like a certain TV show, or I'll think of like certain like think of the Packers or the football game coming up. Like what do I think is going to happen? Or I'll think of the next UFC fight that's going to happen. Or I'll think about like going camping or hiking, or like what I would need to hypothetically bring on the next camping trip. And I would just, you have to like keep your mind occupied with something like either positive or just neutral. Because if you're not careful and you get into negative headspaces, you will just keep thinking negative and keep thinking negative. And then you'll do that for weeks or months on end. And then you'll like end up depressed, and it's like awful. And it's like you realize that like your brain is part of your body, but it's also something completely separate from your body, where you need to like you need to take care of it in a way like it's pet. It's like a pet or a gremlin that could turn on you. Like, don't feed it bad thoughts. Don't feed it after midnight.
Yeah.
Wow, I've literally had that same epiphany on mushrooms.
That's awesome.
But I guess I could have gotten the same thing through 2.5 years of mind-numbing factory work.
Uh,
And then all of a
uh,
sudden you find yourself standing next to Vince saying, I'm not a fucking robot.
Yeah.
oh man. Um, yeah. Is that it? Is that the show? I think it is. Like, subscribe, comments. Go to a few GoldilockBears.com. Tell your friends. Tell some people. We got to spread the word, everybody. I was Vincent Cloud.
Oh, and your review leaving thing, and leave a review for us. A good one. I'm John Nemitz.
And I'm David Lauer.